Love this.
This is phenomenal.
Absolutely. There's been more and more activity in the city, and
we're no longer the redheaded stepchild.
It's great, and in fact, the guys in our studio right now have come directly from the set. They started shooting at 6 o'clock last night.
This is a first, right?
Yes,
coming from the set right to here.
Well, or even while a project is going on, usually they're too busy to do any PR. They're in the development process. A lot of creative things are going on. They don't want to disturb that groove.
So it can be done.
Yes.
You hear that, Robert De Niro?
Exactly. God, did we try?
Son of a bitch wouldn't come anywhere near the place.
No, but we're going to get these guys in and talk to them right now. The film is called Mccanick, and we're going to welcome to our studio David Morse, Cory Monteith, and the director Josh Waller.
Yeah.
Hi. Thank you.
Morning, guys. Thanks for coming over after working all night long. You guys didn't get any rest? Nothing at all?
Not yet.
I just fell asleep in the parking lot. Does that count?
Actually,
it sure does. I guess to an actor, that's pretty. You got to take the rest where you can get it. So
yeah.
I mean, David, you've been in a lot of films. Are there times where you get these no rest periods when you're working on a film?
Yeah, we can go 20. I've done one. It was 27 hours. Was one of our days.
Wow. Let me ask you: is the because I hear so many actors say, okay, so they're ready to go. The worst part is being ready to go and then just waiting to go. So you're there, you're on call, sort of.
That's the job.
That's the job, right? Yeah.
That somebody famously said we get paid for the waiting. The rest of it is the fun.
Right.
The work is the fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's true.
All right, so in doing some research for this movie is in such its beginning phases that we had a hard time finding information on exactly what it's about. I mean, we have a vague idea, but can you tell us a little bit, Josh, about what we can expect?
Yeah, I mean, it's, I've been working on it together with my best friend Daniel, who wrote it, and for about 9 years. And it's just a gritty cop drama. I wouldn't say that it's a thriller, but it definitely has a ton of action, a ton of violence. But it's kind of a throwback to the films of the 70s.
I love that.
That French Connection, The Conversation.
That's considered Hollywood's second golden era. And the movies that came out of that featured great anti-heroes. And the characters weren't black and white. There were grays that made them more complex. Is that what we can expect?
That's exactly what we got. It's the most fun you can have as an actor is that kind of work.
To find the intricacies of a character.
Yeah, and a lot of times you're playing characters that just serving plot points and that kind of stuff.
Right.
This is really human beings, and the role that that Cory over here has played, and everybody in it. They're just great roles, and it's great fun to do.
Cory, this is a obviously we know you from Glee and everything, and I'm sure this is gonna be said thousands of times, but this is a character that is in extreme contrast to what we know you as, I would assume.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. To say the least.
You're a convict, right? Who
exactly.
gets out.
He's getting out. There's two versions of Simon Weeks, this character. There's before he goes to prison, and there's 7 years after when he gets out. So I mean, it's kind of two characters.
And something that is at the core of your story, David, that goes to your past, your history, correct?
Yeah, and it all takes place on one day, and I think I'm going to have a pretty good day. It starts off as my birthday, and I think it's going to be a grand day. It turns out to not be so grand.
I love that 24-hour, that immediacy of, and it may not be happening in real time, but like I think of movies like The Long Good Friday, where it's the day starts off so nice and goes completely asunder.
Yeah. So.
Just to clarify, the name of the movie is Mccanick, but it's not like Auto Mechanic, right? Like it's the name of the character is Mccanick. And when we were talking about it this morning, and then the poster came up, I had a moment of clarity because I thought it was like a Jason Statham movie. And it's not.
We were laughing about that, and some guy came up to us 2 days ago when we were shooting over on the subways using SEPTA and stuff. And this guy came over, and Dave and I are standing right next to each other, and he goes, "Hey, is this a movie with Jason Statham?" And I said, "No, that was already released." And he goes, "Has it got any big in it?" And David goes, "No one big." No. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Josh, did you work on The Nail? The movie The Nail?
No, a short.
A short.
With
Okay.
David Krumholtz.
Oh, okay. All right, because Kathy was in a movie called The Nail. So.
Too bad we didn't work together.
That's where I knew you from.
Yeah, I knew it. You recognized
But
me.
we didn't work together on that movie.
Yeah.
She played a prostitute in this.
No, I did not.
We just always assume she's up for the hooker role. So when you get gritty and you get mean and you're doing the 70s thing, I've been watching a lot of making of footage on Blu-rays and stuff like that, and so much of what they speak about is finding the proper location, the place that is really evocative of where you're shooting. Did you find that? I assume Philadelphia presents a lot of options for a gritty crime drama.
Originally it was written for New York years and years ago, and David and I have been working on this together for almost 4 years. Wow.
Dave's producing, right?
Dave, we were producing
I'm a
it
big
together.
producer on that. That's right.
He's a huge producer on this. He lives here, and at one point we just said we were going to do this for a really small amount of money, and then he just said, let's shoot it in Philadelphia. And I had never really spent any time here, and I came out here and just went, wow. This is the only place I would shoot it. In fact, I'm going to try to push to do kind of all my films here. Because why not?
The city has just been incredibly awesome
Absolutely.
and generous and supportive in this film. The mayor's office, the mayor himself, the film
SEPTA.
office. It's just SEPTA.
Philadelphia
the
Police
neighborhoods.
Department.
It's really been,
What a smart move to do that, to bring, and we know the chronology. Remember when the switch was flicked and Philadelphia finally said, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And because it can be so many different things. Corey, is this your first time to Philadelphia?
No, I've been here before.
Okay.
This is my first time shooting, in Philadelphia like this. It's like, like David was saying, every step of the way, the city's just been helping us, and you don't get that. It's not like that everywhere.
They throw up a lot of times. Sadly, that's why I guess a lot of productions will go like up to Vancouver or go, out of the area. But I'm glad to hear the experience is good. Did you have one particular place, David, in mind that you said, oh, we've got to get down there. This is a perfect place to film.
Well, I don't know if we could admit the place.
You don't want people hanging around.
There's places. I don't know.
I can't tell you.
You would have to kill
Let's
us.
just say that we did some guerrilla filmmaking on this. So we're not gonna.
Yeah.
But what was really cool is that it was an indie guerrilla filmmaking type thing, and usually that's illegal. But here in Philly, we're like, the last minute, we're going to shoot on that street, and we just yell to the cops, and then they go and block traffic
How
for
awesome.
us.
Yeah. How awesome.
So it was incredible.
Yeah, the cops are fantastic here. We've gotten away with stuff and that we easily should have been arrested for.
We're talking about that.
But you know what? There is that one scary sort of tunnel in front of the art museum. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, David, but nobody knows where that tunnel goes.
Oh, when you go through and you see, it looks like chuds living under there.
We could tell you where that tunnel is.
Yeah?
We can tell you a little more too, but we're not going to.
Was that the cutest? Just see the movie.
Yeah.
You got to see the movie.
I tell you what, I know Nick has mentioned this, and it's the truth for me. I love seeing movies that are shot in the air. It's like, look.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, on that basis alone, it's cool.
Josh, you mentioned guerrilla shooting, film style, and not showing up with permission. And in hindsight, afterwards, after a film has come out, can you ever get in any kind of trouble for filming somewhere without having permission?
God, I sure hope not. I got my fingers crossed. We just had the style of guerrilla filmmaking in terms of pulling stuff off. I mean, we just asked for everything, and the city delivered everything.
Right. Yeah, truly.
So,
David, did you shoot Diary of a City Priest and Hack here? And if so, has the process changed at all in the last 10 years in shooting in Philadelphia?
Well, the problem with Hack, if Hack at the time we were shooting it had the tax incentives that we have now, the show would have gone a lot longer. We were here 2 years, and it was expensive to do it. And they kept wanting me to move it to Toronto, and I didn't want to move it there. I felt Philadelphia was as much a part of the show as I was, or as a part of the story, and it didn't feel right. And there's people here who need jobs, and the work should have been here. And now, because of like Sharon Pinkerton at the film office and people in Harrisburg, we now have great tax incentives, and we're getting things happening here. So that's a big change.
David, you live in the area. What's your exact address?
I was afraid you were going to ask that. I'm leaving now.
I have to ask you, is this the first film you've been a producer on that you've worked on?
Yeah, it is the first one.
What? That's a different hat to wear. Were you prepared or not prepared for what was involved with that?
I didn't realize how terrible the director was going to be.
And now you're in it.
Wow. Now, Cory, with this, is this your first? I assume you have more of an action role in this. If you're playing an ex-con and you probably fall into a one-day event like this, any kind of training that you had to do to get ready for it, or
it was definitely, there's a lot of on-the-job training, that's for sure.
Yeah.
We came up with a lot of stuff, and I kind of hit the ground running, because I'm still very much in the middle of shooting Glee, and then they kind of work the schedule around.
That's cool that they would accommodate. Because it's obviously that's a important show for Fox.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and they were nothing but helpful along the way.
He's shooting today.
I shoot today.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah,
Back in LA.
I fly back. So.
Oh my God.
So if we see you forgetting words during a song, we'll know why.
Yeah, exactly.
I got to say on Cory's behalf, his commitment to this role, it's really different than anything I've certainly seen him do.
Thanks.
And it's been amazing to watch him do this.
No one's gonna recognize him. It's kind of crazy when you know Cory obviously from the show, but just also as like a friend, and then you watch him on the screens and you literally do not recognize him, even though he's 5 feet away from you acting.
I'm familiar
Wow,
with
thank
you,
you.
Cory, from Kraken Tentacles of the Deep, that movie I saw in your IMDb.
Wait, what is that? What is that?
Kraken Tentacles of the Deep.
I don't even believe for a second you shot on me.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
No, but you were in Final Destination 3. How did you get
Okay.
killed in that?
Wow. No, you know what? No, you didn't see that either, because I was in it for, like that.
Oh, that's it?
Nope, that was it.
Damn.
Well, so in this one,
I saw it, but
to
like
spike
there's-
Final Destination or Kraken, when you can sink your teeth into a role like this,
Yeah.
how do you prepare? Because I know the actors have different things, whether they're method or whatever.
Yeah,
Do you just spend a lot of alone time? What's the mechanism behind changing from because you're so used to doing one type of character and now you have to shift.
I'm lucky. I got a great coach I've been working with since I started acting, and so I brought him on board and kind of just started taking the script apart as soon as I read it. As soon as I found out that we were going to do this thing, it just became kind of everything I lived and breathed and ate and slept, and I just fell into this thing. And
It's amazing to us, and I say this to a lot of people, but to you, David, and any actor. I'm blown away. Preston and I specifically are blown away by the ability to remember dialogue. Now, when you're doing something that's out of your character, is it as basic as you sit there and just, what's the mechanism for remembering that? We couldn't remember a 30-second promo.
No.
For Fox Television, and how do you do that? When you're learning tons of dialogue in a short amount of time?
Just repetition, I guess. It's like muscle memory.
Yeah.
You kind of just, it's like you do it over and over again, and it just gets easier, I guess.
See, I would
It
not
never
be able
gets
to do
easier.
that.
I don't know why you said that. It never gets easier.
Does yeah, because you've had some extensive dialogue. You were playing Washington, and you got to. History records that it has to be fairly correct.
Fairly correct.
Yeah. Do you is that daunting, or do you just say okay, soldier?
Well, that was daunting for different reasons. In this one, I'm in almost every scene in the movie.
Right.
And literally, I had to start learning this script. A couple of months ago, something like Washington's daunting just because of who the character is.
Sure.
And there's not a whole lot of improvising with Washington's words.
When you're playing you're playing a narcotics officer.
I am. That
right.
is true. I am playing narcotics officer.
Is there a technical consultant on the set to make sure you're getting stuff right?
We did.
Yeah.
We had a technical consultant named Chad. He's a stunt coordinator. He's a precision driver, and it just worked out that, he had also served 17 years on the force. So he was David's stunt double, did all the precision driving through the streets of Philly. Well, he also did some precision driving.
Yeah, tell that
through the
story.
streets.
There are people doing precision driving right now.
We we literally shot with him behind the wheel, and we thought we were going to die.
Really? Really?
In the best way possible. I mean, it was like sitting in the car with McQueen during Bullet. And we were
that's
like,
cool.
Oh, God, please stop the car.
That's wild. And Josh, your trajectory up to being a director, for years you've done other things, but you've always had this love of film. Was this was the inevitable course you were going to take?
Yeah.
From early on?
I mean, I've been directing now for like 12 years, but it was all shorts. It was just kind of putting myself through my own boot camp, trying to prepare myself for features. And then I thought I was ready for features many years ago when I started working on Mccanick, but
not so.
It takes a while to get a movie made,
right?
You know, but like this was just kind of like the little engine that
that could.
Yeah.
For those who are just tuning in, we have Josh Waller and Cory Monteith and David Morse here, and they're talking about the film Mccanick, which is being filmed here. You talk about taking a long time to get a movie, done and packaged up and ready, hit the theaters.
Yeah.
Do you put a timetable on that as you get started? And I would imagine, as most projects for anybody who's doing something, it ends up going a lot longer.
You
than
don't
usual.
put a timetable on dreams, my friend.
That is beautiful. Yeah, that is beautiful. Yeah. Nice touch. That's ending up in Bartlett's.
Oh, Jay.
He was looking for high fives.
No high fives. These guys could care less.
David, do you sing at all? Are you going to be on Glee anytime soon?
Do you want to hear me sing right now?
Yeah, I do.
Yes, please.
No. No, I'm sorry. It's not-
How about
I'm
a little
not gonna
Rebecca
sing.
Black?
Stop asking.
You were a stage actor when you started off, right?
I'm still a stage actor.
You still do a lot of stage acting. Excellent.
Yeah, I did. When I started, I did a lot of repertory theater, which doesn't mean much to most people, but it's just as an actor, it's pretty darn intense.
Yeah.
Doing 4 different shows a week, 10 months a year. And I did Kieran Hines, who's in this movie, who's a great Irish actor. We did a play on Broadway together called The Seafarer a few years ago, and he was brilliant in that. So when I can do stage, I love to do it.
Talk about needing to know your dialogue. There are no second takes in that.
No, there's no second takes. And I've done a one-person play, which is 2 hours of dialogue.
Well, what play was that?
It was called An Almost Holy Picture.
Okay.
Which is a brilliant, beautiful play. But it's like playing a football game 8 days a week. It's the kind of physical, emotional effort it takes to do something like that. It's almost like nothing I've ever done in my life.
When you finish, do you just have to take a break when you've done something like that for a while and just disconnect for a while? Because I assume it's completely enervating.
No, you don't get a break because you don't get paid in theater. You got to go actually make some money.
Right, yeah.
Well, yeah, you know what? And we were just watching the footage of Justin Bieber, who just got sick on stage.
Yeah,
So I know that Glee had toured for a while and doing the live stage stuff. What do you do when you don't feel good? And you have to go on, right?
You just try and get it out before you go on stage.
Right.
You just got to try and, if that's how you're feeling, just kind of.
That's it.
Get it out.
You know what? I wanted to ask David, because you mentioned doing these large roles, a leading role, and you have all this dialogue and so forth. You're also not afraid of smaller roles. Steve and I were talking before you got in here. It's a very short amount of time you're on screen, but The Hurt Locker, which you were in that small amount of time, you really had a presence, and it was awesome. What draws you to taking a little bit role like that from time to time?
Catherine Bigelow talked to me about doing that. She sent the script, and she had Ralph Fiennes, and she had Guy Pearce in it, and she wanted. This was a very specific thing that she wanted to have. She had these relatively unknown actors playing the 3 lead guys, and she wanted people who were sort of familiar to the audience to be the people you think are going to rescue them. They're just in this incredible danger in the situation, and you keep hoping someone will save the day. And I thought it was just a great idea, and I thought it was a brilliant script. Obviously, it was an amazing movie, and Jeremy Renner's kind of done okay.
Hey, he's doing okay. You're also in World War Z,
That's right.
which, from what I can gather, the shots I've seen, this thing is over the top, expansive, and amazing. Was that what it was like on set? Like
I was there for a week in London. I've been in some big movies, but I've never seen anything on the scale of this thing.
Really?
It is. Yeah.
Was that going to be shot here at one point, and then they moved it overseas?
Yeah.
Do you know?
Well, this is one of the things that is kind of too bad. The whole opening of this movie takes place in Philadelphia. And at that time, there was a lot of, again, it's this tax incentive thing. There was a lot of questions about whether the tax incentives would be in effect. And they really wanted to shoot here. And they hired like 1,000 extras. And, they had a lot of jobs on this thing. And it was cheaper for them to recreate Philadelphia in Glasgow, Scotland, than to shoot it here, which was, you think about all the work that was lost here. on it. It's going to be a huge movie, and that's a film. You know, you're talking about a smaller role. This is an amazingly wild role that I got to do in this. And, you know, I don't know. It's maybe in 10 minutes of the movie, but it's just a ball. To do it.
This is a beloved story for a lot of people. I mean, and it's got to be wild going from very guerrilla filmmaking and back and forth. But it's something, I guess, and Cory, obviously, in the beginning of your career, this is something we hear a lot of actors say they want to do, which is the big things, and then, but, you know, still get back to the craft with independent and smaller films like this. Is that a trajectory you'd like to maintain as well?
No, absolutely. I just want to push and stretch and do as much as I can as an actor and as an artist, just to kind of develop, you know.
Right.
But I think that there's also the thing, and I experienced this when I did St. Elsewhere, is getting typecast, and you get kind of slotted at something. And I had said I would never do television before I did that, and I wound up doing 10 years of television. And I just realized there are good things that happen in television. There's good things that happen in small films. There's good things that happen in big films. And the more you don't let yourself be under the thumb of the business,
right,
the better off you are.
Yeah.
And that includes doing stuff like this, which is great.
Well, going back to another one of your big films, David, The Green Mile, which was amazing. Michael Clark Duncan. Wow. I mean, we, as were most of the country, blown away by him passing so early. I mean, just a physical
a mountain
specimen.
of a man, yeah.
Just amazing. I mean, that had to have floored you as well.
It was incredibly sad, but
yeah.
I have so many people who have contacted me about Michael and how sad they were, and I speak. It just speaks to not just the size of this man, but the heart of the man. You know, he really touched a lot of people in this career that he had. And I'm just grateful that I got to spend that time with him.
Tom Hanks was, at the service farmers were laying, and obviously there was a lot of amusing stories about that. And I assume that when you work on a movie of any kind, especially something as dour as The Green Mile, you've got to have moments of levity to break the tension.
Well, Tom Hanks has a great gift for levity, obviously,
right?
But his generosity is not only with the actors that he works with, but with the crew. And his company is called Playtone, and I think that says a lot about him.
Right.
He just loves to play, and it's really for the benefit of everybody. And I love it.
Josh, with this film, speaking of cast size, I would imagine it's one day. It's going to be a fairly limited size cast that we're going to see.
You would think that.
Really?
But there are 1,000 zombies in it as well.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not a huge cast, but I mean, there are a lot of roles, and they're all meaty roles. So, you know, you guys are talking about, like, people coming in for, like, you know, one day or doing, like, a little thing in Hurt Locker, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, we have tons of those roles.
Wow.
You know, Maura Tierney came in for 1 day.
Cool.
Rachel Nichols flew in for 2 days, you know. Kieran was, 3 days?
3 days, yeah.
And then flew to do a film in Ireland, and I guess now Game of Thrones.
Right.
But all these guys coming in for just like 1 day, 2 days, and there's a
being
lot
paid
of
nothing.
those type of
You know,
roles.
they're really not getting paid anything.
Were you calling it a lot of favors, David?
I don't think of it as calling favors. You know, we had a great script.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And it's people who want to do good work.
Yeah.
And people, you know, Mike Vogel is another one. He's actually from this area.
He's a local.
Yeah. And he and I did a pilot together a few years ago for ABC. And he's a great actor. He's coming up fast.
Talk about a pinch hitter.
Really?
Mike came in at the last minute to play a pretty pivotal role. So he shot for like 2 weeks.
Was Brandon Routh attached to this?
Brandon Routh was attached for
Superman.
Yep,
For people who don't remember.
and there was scheduling issues, and inevitably it just became like too much.
That's got to cause you an aneurysm when one of the main guys has to fall out.
You know, if there's anything that I've learned from this film, it's that, like, you know, it's cheesy, but, you know, one door closes and another one opens, and that happened consistently throughout this entire film.
Very cool.
So, you know, we'd have a door close, and it was just like something, you know, I don't want to say better, something different.
Okay.
What happened?
Hey, Cory, so you're flying out to do some shooting on Glee. You coming back, or are you done?
This is it.
This is it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Picture wrap.
Wow, okay. 1 day and that's it?
Well, you know, we've been here
A couple days.
Okay.
2 days. Yeah.
I wasn't sure. Well, cool. I mean, are we looking at 2013, 2014?
2013.
2013. Right. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, if there's anything else you guys need in way of promotion, please stop by. Let us know. We'd love to have you back in. And we're really happy that You're shooting in Philadelphia. This is really
Yay, Philly.
Yeah, we love that fact. All right, the film is called Mccanick, so we'll look for a 2013 release. And I just want to thank all three of you guys for coming by here this morning. We appreciate you, especially working and then coming straight here. It's really cool of you to do it.
Thank
It was
you.
really great.
Thanks for having us.
And by the way, Josh, you've been thumbing at our calendar.
Can
You
I
can have the
this?
calendar.
I'm like, this is right in front of me. I wasn't even listening to you.
We've got a new one coming up in about a month, and we'll send you that one, too.
Well, I'll be waiting in this chair.
Excellent. Thank you very much, David Morris, Cory Monteith, and Josh Waller on the Preston and Steve Show. We're going to take a break, and we'll come back in a moment. Stay there, gang.